why don't you go to mass with us? Chris and Gabe went to two different parts. Chris went to the Novus Ordo Mass, and Gabe went to the traditional Latin Mass. And they asked me like Saturday night at midnight. I'm like, no, not this week, not this week. And I said, okay, that's what I said. Like, we want you to go to mass with us. And I said, okay, I'll go. I'd love to go. So the next day I went to Chris to Novus Ordo Mass, and I'm like, okay, like I understand this. And Chris told me after mass, said, okay, when you go to Gabe next week, it is completely different. Just so you know. And like what your podcast said with Dom about how Andrew Ertles looked at the Novus Ordo missile, said that's not going to help you there. And that was absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gabe told me, he said, okay, I don't know if they're in the deep end and you're a sink or swim, but I'm pretty sure you're going to swim. The first mass I went to was a solemn high mass. So do you know what a solemn high mass is?
It's been a long time, but people that don't know, what is that?
Solemn high mass, you have a priest, you have a deacon, and you have a subdeacon. So sometimes it's like three priests, or it's a priest, a deacon, like they're not married, like they're on their way to become a priest, or they are a priest. And the third one could be a seminarian that has had some type of rights. Like they could have been like, they could be a deacon, or they've been blessed and been conjured. So like people that go to the fraternity of St. Peter, those priests, they have contra where they get their hair clipped and then you can start wearing a cassock. Same thing into Christ the King, and same thing into Good Shepherd. So my first mass was that. I was like, and Gabe said, I got a missile, but you're not going to look through it this time. I said, I just want you to watch. And like from that moment on, I knew you wanted to be Catholic. Because there was just so much history you could tell, and you just felt like something was special there. And I still love the Traditional Latin Mass to this day. But like that's when I first started going. So then I too went to the Traditional Latin Mass every Sunday. Chris would go sometimes we go to Mass with Chris, but every Sunday for the most part I went to the Traditional Latin Mass. Then that was in from December, January, then we left it in May. So when I came home that year, I knew I wanted to become Catholic from school, but I didn't know how to go about it. So that summer I talked to my parents, said, hey, I think I'm becoming Catholic. And I said, okay, like we support you, like we want you to be happy. I said, yeah. I said, I'm gonna go to mass, the neighborhood parish. I said, I'm gonna go there, but also I also go to church with you to support you guys. So I did that the year. So I went to mass all by myself, the local parish. Like didn't talk to anyone, sat there every Sunday, did everything I was supposed to do. And I'm not even Catholic at this point. Like I'm going. And like even when I was at school, like I went to adoration. Chris introduced me to adoration. So I spent a lot of time doing Catholic things, but weren't Catholic. Like some people were saying I was being more Catholic than what other Catholics were doing, because like I did adoration 2-3 times a week. Then I went to mass and I did all of these things. Then, so going into my senior year, I had a girlfriend at that time. Started dating her. She's Catholic. But anyway, it was like, I talked to Chris. I told Chris and I said, I want to become Catholic. Like, how do we go about this? He said, well, like you can do RCIA at Walsh, or you can find someplace you really want to do RCIA. Well, I wanted to do RCIA through the priest that did his Traditional Latin Mass, Father Pfeiffer. He's a great man. Yeah, I called him in August, said, hey, like, I want to become Catholic. I want to do RCIA. And he said, oh, perfect. I'll get back to you. He had some stuff going on. So I met with Deacon John the first time. And from then, like, Deacon John helped me. It was amazing. I did RCIA with him and Father Pfeiffer. And, like, mine wasn't, like, a traditional RCIA. Like, I wasn't a group. It was just me. So like, I got a special bond with Father Pfeiffer and Deacon John. Like, it was nice to know those guys on a personal level, especially Father Pfeiffer. And, like, all the questions I had, it was, like, behind closed doors, just you and me, let's talk. Like, for every once in a while, like, we got to know each other, and it was like great to answer those questions. Then Chris was my sponsor, and that was amazing that he was able to do that. And like when those meetings I go with Father Pfeiffer, like sometimes like, hey, what do you want to talk about? And I just round stuff off. Like we talked about saints, we talked about angels, we talked about anything under the sun. It was amazing. So I was very blessed by that opportunity. And one day Father Pfeiffer just asked, so when do you become Catholic? And this is like in February, and like he said, well, you don't have to wait till Easter, like, because I mean with him like every 2 weeks, and it was like 1-on-1, and so like we flew stuff. Like I read through the catechism completely. That's one thing MD said, I only read through the Catechism. Like, that's a thick book.
Oh, yeah.
It is. I was like, wow. And that's a lot of information. Like, a lot of our talks, it was like, we talked about the Catechism, like what the church said and church teachings.